So in this video I would like to record the process that I use for planning my IFR flights. In this case I'm planning a flight to fly the Fenix A320 in Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 from Barcelona to Gothenburg. But I've used this process for pretty much all my IFR flights, including those in Explain 11. As my main source of information I'm using flightradar24.com. I pretty much like to plan my flights from gate to gate, and all the information that I need is available on Flightradar 24. So on the right you see my iPad that I have open, and I'm showing the iPad on my screen here as well. And as part of my flight planning and also for keeping track of all the details during my flights, I've created some worksheets. So I've got a worksheet here for the departure with all the departure information. I'm showing here the details for a flight that I've done previously. I've got a similar sheet for the arrival information, and another sheet for the arrival details, especially when receiving instructions from ATC. For example, when I'm flying online on the VetSim network. So I'll be filling these forms out during this process. Let me just clear out all the information so that we can start from scratch. And I'll be filling out the forms step by step while going through the whole process. So obviously I'm flying an A320, so I can already fill that out. We'll be requesting clearance to Gothenburg or Landvetter, as you wish. So, like I said, I'd like to plan my flights from gate to gate. I've selected a flight here from Vuelling, flight 1874, call sign 81 Whiskey Quebec, flight from Barcelona to Gothenburg. So let's see if we can find any gate information to see where they departed from. So we zoom in. We can see that they view stand 202. So let's fill that out. The next step then will be to find out the runways that are currently in use. So if we go to Flightradar 24 and zoom in, looks like they're using the westerly ops. Let's refresh this. So winds are 210 knots. Yes, westerly ops, runway is 24, so departure will be runway 24 left. So let's fill that out. So I'm using SimBrief to do the flight planning. So I've got the details pre-filled here. Vueling flight 1874 from Barcelona to Gothenburg, and I've entered a alternate of Stockholm. And let's update the time. I also typically add 15 minutes because I typically use a little bit more time before I'm ready to go. We look at the type of engines that they've used, because Vueling uses both types of engines, or all types, i.e. the CFMs and the NEOs. So here they've used the CFMs. So from my list of pre-configured aircraft, I'm gonna choose this CFM variant for Vueling. So SimBrief is then going to load the flight plan that has been previously used by other users. Let's see, they've actually selected 24 left already, so that's fine. And then let's see what the real world flight did, because there are various ways of getting to Sweden, obviously. So here they've flown over Paris, Belgium, the Netherlands and Denmark, which is what this route is also showing, so that's great. This one's going over Germany and this one as well. So yeah, let's just use this one. And let's just copy this. I've also got a Navigraph subscription, so I've pre-filled this with the details Barcelona and Gothenburg. If I just paste in the route from SimBrief, Let's have a look at the departure. So we're going to Oloxo. Let's see if this is correct. Oloxo to Quebec. Yes, that is correct. There's also an Oloxo to Foxtrot. Oloxo to Foxtrot departure. That is sometimes pre-filled by SimBrief, but that's not available for planning purposes. So to Quebec is indeed the correct one. So let's fill that out on our sheet. Oloxo to Quebec, off of runway 24 left. Other details that we need: initiate sea clearance, climb and maintain 6,000 feet. So initial climb is 6,000. Let's see, airport elevation is 14 feet. Looks like we're flying over high ground. Minimum safety altitude is 6,400. And let's see what other details are given here. Transition altitude 6,000 feet. It's probably going to be flight level 70, but let's go with 6,000 for now. RNF1 required. Unless indicated otherwise by Barcelona Tower, contact Barcelona approach before crossing 2000. Okay, so we've got some handover information which we can fill out. Contact approach before reaching 2000 feet. Other details: unable to comply, maintain runway heading until reaching 410 feet. Noise abatement. The rest doesn't really apply to us. So we've got a minimum climb gradient of 8%. So we'll probably be doing somewhere around 15,600 feet per minute, which should be no problem for the A320. If we look at our sheet, we also need thrust reduction and acceleration altitudes. So for that I use the blackbox711.com website. So if we enter Barcelona, we can see that at Barcelona the NADP2 procedure is in place, so thrust reduction is 1,020 feet. Same goes for the acceleration altitudes. So what's left then is the taxi routing. Let's see what they did in real life. So they pushed back from stand 202, facing east, took this gate, then right turn, all the way to the second taxiway, and then to the first entry point, full length runway 24 left. So if we have a look at Barcelona, they've got a extensive taxi routing in place. So as you can see, there are various taxi charts. Let's see, this one, arrival to far right and departure to far left, is the one we need. Also get the parking stands. So stand 202 is over here, so the pushback facing east. So we could take gate Alpha Sierra or Bravo Sierra. So let's go for Alpha Sierra. Let's go to the taxi charts. Alpha Sierra right onto Mike. Then to the second taxiway, which is Delta, right onto Delta. Then we're crossing runway 02. We go left onto Kilo. Fill that out. And full length to 4, which is holding point Golf 01. So this is all the departure information that we need from the gate to the takeoff runway and the departure information. If ATC would be online, I would fill out the departure frequencies, or I will do that when I'm in the cockpit. And the weather information I will also do in the cockpit. So that's all the departure information for now. So we can then move to the arrival. Let's see what SimBrief gave us. A lobby for Tango arrival. Let's have a look at that in Navigraph. So arriving via the southwest, so that is via lobby. Let's see, lobby for Tango, runway 21. Okay, so let's enter the lobby for Tango arrival for the star, and here as well. For Tango arrival runway 21. So RNF is required if unable to fly. Open stars. Aircraft will be radar vector to final. So that will probably indicate that there are no transitions. Flying from lobby L box to Maxif. It's pretty straightforward. Pass our request to perform a continuous descent operation. Use descent speed to 60 or less. Advise IFR descent speed is requested. That's all fine. So then we can have a look at the approach from runway 21. It's going to be an ILS approach. Now if my flights are around about an hour and a half or 2 hours in length, I typically fill out all the arrival details. So it's going to be an ILS to 1 arrival. Now this flight is 3 hours or so, but I'll fill this out here anyway. So the frequency for the ILS is 108.5 with identifier of November Golf Golf. Inbound course is 202. Now I don't really need this for flying the Airbus, but it's all good for situational awareness. Transition altitude is 5,000 feet. Fill it in for now. If we look at the miss approach, climb straight ahead, 3,000 feet. Radar factoring for a new approach. That's pretty straightforward. So we can fill out that the miss approach altitude is 3,000 feet. Put it in red so it's visible when I need it. Any other details here? Localize the EME required. Minimum of 160 knots until outer marker. So for our speed instructions, 160 until 4 DME, which is pretty standard. Minimum descent altitude for Cat 1 is 706 feet, which is 200 feet above ground. And we have a minimum safety altitude of 2,500 feet. We can fill that out as well, again for situational awareness. Airport elevation is around 506 feet. Again, all the other information I fill out during the flight when we are approaching the airport. I do fill out the taxi information, so arriving at runway 21, we'll be vacating to the left. Let's see what the real world flight did. Actually, we can first check to see which runways are in use at Gothenburg. So winds are 240 or 10. So yes, they are also using runway 21. So that's good to know. Which is also what they did for this flight, which is handy. So they vacated to the left via this intersection here, turn left, right turn here, and let's see what gate they were using. Seems to be stance 19er, so let's fill that out. So that intersection, left turn and right turn, let's see what it looks like on the chart. So that would be Charlie intersection, left onto Yankee, and then let's see what the gates are. Parking stands, so Yankee, it's going to be stand 19, which is over here. So Yankee right turn onto Juliet. So that's all the information that we need for the approach and the arrival, and the taxi information. So that gives me an initial plan to fly the flight. Doesn't mean to say that it's going to happen like this, but it's always good to have a plan and to have a backup plan when something changes. So we can go back to SimBrief. We can verify that everything is okay. Runway 21. Then we can save this. We can generate the flight plan. And if we want, we can have a quick look at the details. So takeoff weight will be 66.6, landing weight 59.6, so that's well under the maximum. Zero fuel weight 55.9, and a trip time of 2 hours and 47 minutes. So from here I will pre-file it on a network, so I typically file on a VetSim, and go for there. So that's my flight planning process. Let me know what you're using. If you have any tips or other recommendations, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you, and have a great flight.